Stories always start somewhere, sometimes from something, sometimes from a person, sometimes from an idea, something from the past, sometimes from the very contemporary. Måneskin's story starts with an intuition, an idea. Back in 1997, the world had just started to enter the digital revolution. Whether we realized that or not, the internet was getting bigger and bigger, more and more filled with existing and new knowledge, and our lives were becoming more and more digitalized or influenced by the digital revolution. So at that time, the group of illuminated and sensible entrepreneurs looked at the world around them and realized that there was a huge opportunity to meet some really profound human needs. So the Måneskin story starts from profound human needs, such as memory, personal identity or self-expression, imagination or creativity, culture, mobility. So these are some of the themes that we will be exploring or I will be sharing with you during today's sharing session. What you see here is the original mobile device. And I like to look at this as a metaphor, an open platform that enables inspiring journeys. What attracted me to Måneskin is the true and profound interest in people. So everything starts from people, from who we are, from human beings. My true interest, I'm a people person. My true interest has always been in people, in their values, their aspirations, their deeper needs. So enabling and empowering people to express their talent is our mission, our mantra every single day. It's been for me at least. For my entire professional career. So as we move forward, as technology progresses, as we move through our life, as generations give space to new ones, we should ask ourselves questions. And I know that the Creative Morning format doesn't allow a lot of interactivity, at least in this portion of the presentation, but I wanted to force the system a little. So I'm not going to make it interactive, but I'm going to ask you some questions. And I want you to think about them and maybe pencil down some potential answers for yourself, or if you will be willing to share them after the presentation, it would be like the starting points for a little bit of conversation. So this is my first question. What would a person be without memory? Probably an empty book, blank pages, a zero-byte file. Memory is an intrinsic and profound human need. I think it is a need. It is a need to remember and to be remembered. And the reason why we want to remember is to be better as people, as community, as human beings in general. It is important to transfer what we believe is right to the future generations, to the people that we got around to make this a better world. And there are a lot of ways to collect memories. I personally find it very liberating to draw. I've always drawn in my life. Drawing, whether simple or intricate, or artistic or sketchy, can be very therapeutical. It's a good practice. This is actually an article about powerful lashes, and it was very. If you want to take a look at it, it's really interesting the way she talks about her creative block and how, after talking to Tom Yorkin of Radiohead, she started this process. She called them mind splurges on a Moleskine notebook. It was a Moleskine notebook to help her get over, this block and create her new album. So it was pretty inspiring, especially for us when we discovered that she was doing this on a Moleskine notebook. So it is important to document our memories, also with purpose, without losing the sense of reality. By simply agglomerating data. There's a large debate around big data, right? We keep collecting information, but we don't know exactly what to do with it. So it is important to do it with a purpose. It is important to edit it, to curate it, and this is something that we can do as professionals, as creative professionals. Technology sometimes might be misleading. So this is something we created some time ago with layers of paper, and it's a way to document memories on a digital format. Are you familiar with the application paper? One of those intersections that for us were very important to bridge the analog and digital worlds. It's a way to make physical ideas and concepts and creativity that is more than This is a way to bring ideas back to life in a physical format. And by the way, we recently got a pretty important award on this. We're very happy. And this starts from people, again, from the way people get embarking in interesting journeys as they travel. It's a way to transform ideas back into a physical, tangible format. So we're talking about the importance of documenting our lives, the importance of taking notes in multiple forms, recording our relevant experiences in order to track them, to protect them from oblivion, because they're so volatile by definition. The importance also to share them. And handwriting is another way to do that. Handwriting plays also a very important role in the way our brain works. Handwriting, as opposed to typing, activates different parts of our brain that are more connected with the emotional parts, or the reptile part of our brain, linked to our emotions. So typing might be faster, might be the best way to edit, but it doesn't connect to our emotional part of the brain. Creativity is probably is another way to pose the question: what would a person be without creativity? So creativity is an intrinsic human need. It is a need to change the world around us, to make it a better place. Creativity is usually driven by curiosity, by the intrinsic desire to discover new things, to experience more, to fill our database with inputs that come from the people that we meet, the places that we go see, the music that we listen to, the books that we read. So we fill our database, and the more we fill it, the more we can access this information in a creative way based on an input, on a brief, on a design brief or a challenge. So it is important to keep our database full with important and meaningful information that we store as we sleep. So this means that we got to be constantly in search for ways to fill ourselves with inspirational. So creativity doesn't belong to a small group of people. So you are, I assume, creative people. So you might think that you're more creative than others. But creativity actually belongs to human beings as a whole. So everybody is creative. The first human beings on Earth did not attend a design class to change their world around them. It's pretty banal, but it's good to remember this. We keep doing the same now. And this is what we strive to do, or we should be striving to do. You as designers, as creative people, have a great deal of influence, have an intrinsic power, and with the power comes the responsibility to actually affect change. Creativity manifests itself in very different ways, and this is probably the beauty of it, reflecting the amazing and inspiring diversity and variety of the people that we are, reflecting our unique way of looking at the world, making sense out of it, and giving shape to ideas and thoughts. This is a hint. This is a hint of a platform, an online platform called Scheme, open to anyone who wants to share their talents. And this expresses basically the variety of ways we express ourselves, and it's just a very small portion of what is out there. So from illustration to collages and drawings and writing, it's pretty amazing. So creativity, it's something that can be very personal. It's our unique way to see and envision new things and the world around us, and it's never static. It's a really dynamic concept. Creativity, yes, is personal, but as part of our own identity, is actually often shared, both online and offline. In very different ways. These are just platforms that we have experienced over the years to let people express themselves in various different ways, creating unique nuances and expressions in different parts of the world in different ways. Always, engaging in physical activities and mental activities. What is important about creativity is that it's fueled, to me, at this based on my own experience, by physical gathering with people that we share our passions with. Now, think about your creative heritage, about how you are actually, as creative people, affecting, in a creative way, change. And I know it's early in the morning. I was talking to some of you, so maybe you are in a passive mode, just listening to me, but I want you to think and pencil down what you think is the creative heritage that you are, how you are affecting change in the things that you do. And I'm not just talking about projects you are engaged in, but with your own life. How you are affecting change with your creativity. Creativity manifests itself in so many different ways in everything that we do. So pencil that down if you like, for yourself again, or maybe for sharing after. So going back to human needs, think about what would a person be without culture. And culture here is intended 360 degrees, broadly intended. Culture is an intrinsic need. It is a need to cultivate the soul and the mind. It is a need to create and adhere to codes, symbolic codes that are used by different communities through music, art, literature, language, food, you name it. Talking about contemporary culture, I wanted to talk to you about the Tour project, which represents an example the contemporary heritage concept that Moleskine has been enabling over the years. It's a traveling exhibition that celebrates some of the greatest thinkers and authors of our time. Their thoughts and creations have been made available to the international public in Venice and Tokyo and Paris, Milan, New York, Istanbul. So it's about 400 thinkers. I like to think of them as thinkers, as thought movers among photographers and architects and designers, musicians, directors, artists, fashion designers. You see some examples here. This is C.D. Ross. So culture in Moleskine also means collaborations with different organizations and international networks, from art exhibitions to museums to festival events, but also schools. So you are the cultural heritage of tomorrow. You're affecting change. You got the power that I mentioned before. So also think about what is your contribution to today's culture. How are you affecting the change in the cultural sense? Back to human needs. What would a person be without mobility? And mobility here is both of the body and of the mind. I've been traveling all of my life. I'm a traveler, in the deepest sense. My life has been affected by, traveling with one-way tickets. So it's, besides me, it is an intrinsic human need to travel, to move, to discover. Human beings have always traveled across the globe. We've never been static. So during ordinary and extraordinary journeys, we constantly experience this new urban nomadism. Mobility is key today. Things move faster than ever before. They keep accelerating, and this is our perception, my own perception. More and more we need to engage in this endless journey, collecting inputs that come from all of this moving of ideas, thoughts, people that we meet, etc. But yet, we have to protect our inner monologues that allow us to consciously or maybe unconsciously organize the information and the stimuli we get from the outside. So we need this double speed, this balance between the speed out there, our hunger for new inputs, but at the same time we need time to filter, to make sense out of all of this information that we get. Journeys, again, of the mind and of the body, are where ideas intersect, where ideas are created and integrated. So travel fuels creativity and unexpected connections. I actually think, I like to think that as we move across our cities, we compose our songlines like native Australians. Contemporary urban paths that connect us with our reference communities, with the territory, with our inner selves. So as we travel, this is one of the questions that I keep asking myself. I keep asking, what do I want to preserve and foster? What do I want to transfer to my kids and to the people that I got around me? So it is our responsibility as member of the creative class to preserve the importance of connecting and relating to our inner self. I keep repeating that because I think it's important. Nurturing the need for blank space, because blank space is where ideas are generated out of the noise that we are surrounded with. So I've always strive to provide blank pages to people in the work that I do. And Moleskine, of course, and this is the intersection between me and the brand. We also strive to provide books yet to be written, and identity tools that are, batteries for our personal experiences, especially for the ones of us, knowledge workers, so exposed to new images and new ideas. We really need to cultivate the blank space around our minds. We need to foster sort of a what we call ecology of mind. There's a sustainability of thoughts and feelings and passions which are at the bottom of all economic, social, environmental sustainability. So we keep traveling, we keep moving. Limited spaces once used to be called like airports or railway stations, were once called known places. But today are really offering, this is what they offer to me, an opportunity for reflection and meaningful experience. They're not just known places anymore. And this happens both on paper and on screens in a seamless mobile continuum. So it's not, for me, a question of disconnecting from technology or unplugging. This is not the message. On the contrary, I've been trying to find ways to connect the two worlds in a meaningful way for myself, inventing new ways and systems to connect actually deeper through different levels of reality and new virtual awareness. So no digital analog dichotomy. Creating these unexpected and surprising new connections, integrating known and new gestures and new rituals, creating hybrids and blends, sometimes even wrong, big mistakes, but good experiments between these two worlds that are apparently so apart. So paper and screen are, to me, in my personal life, in a continuous and permanent dialogue as I travel through my life. And there's one video that I wanted to show you. It's a sneak peek by a new Moleskine object that we just launched. So brand new. What I've learned in my life, traveling, through different destinations, is that it's really the content and not the distance covered that marks my greatest journeys. So really, this is something that I'd like you to reflect on. It's not really the space, the physical travel. You might travel in long distances and do not remember much, even if you've taken maybe hundreds of images. So the journey is really something that happens inside of you more than outside. So it is important to experience things in a physical way. So physical experiences can be enhanced by technology, but never replaced, to avoid becoming everyday robots on our phones as Dan Alban sings in some of these songs. And another thing that I learned in my career is that having a lot of contacts on socials doesn't really mean actually having a lot of friends. So we need to cultivate the warm side of technology. A friend actually recently talked about the Moleskine operating system as a mode of life, as a lifestyle, which helps you disconnect or connect deeper. This is why, to me, it's always been so vital to enable physical experiences. It is important to physically gather with people we share passions with. We go back to the idea of passions. In this sense, Moleskine stories are envisioned as epicenters of passion, platforms for expression and sharing. So, another question or point of reflection for you, as you move through your life in space, producing new knowledge and culture, think about the songline that you are creating. I know it's early in the morning, but think about that. So back to our, flow. Human needs. What would a person be without personal identity? Homologation versus differentiation. As human beings, we need to identify ourselves with codes that are, easy and make us adhere to a given community. But at the same time, we are in a constant quest to be different from others, to compete in a good way with others. So the things we carry with us say a lot about our own personality, about who we are. Contemporary nomadism is driving us back to ancient and Vedic cultures. Our identities are more and more mobile. And the only permanent residence is an email address. So in this context, the digital cloud has been helping us collect all we need, from business documents to travel information, contacts and connections with family and friends and colleagues, making it all accessible anytime, anywhere. So what we carry with us is a set of objects that really create our personal environment, that really tell our story. And this story changes, it's never the same. As I mentioned before, it's a dynamic concept. Also, in this case, we change, we constantly change as we move forward. So all of these objects are charged with symbolic and also emotional meaning. That's the notion of nomadic objects that Jacques Attali mentions. And Moleskine would love to think of our bundles as analog clouds, because the concept gives it a little bit more likeness in poetry. So this is my analog cloud. Just a few days ago during a trip to Berlin, probably not so different from what I carry today. And I could tell you a story about all the objects displayed in the picture. So with this idea in mind, so the analog cloud idea, we recently created an online game, a physical game called My Analog Cloud, that allows you to play, have fun creating unique and very poetic personal profiles based on the objects you choose in every given moment. So it's a game that's very playful, and it can be very fun to experiment with. So heritage. Heritage, when I started thinking about this presentation, I had this idea in mind. Heritage sounds like something that belongs to the past. It's somewhat static and heavy as a word. However, the more I was thinking about it, the more I believe that there's a very dynamic dimension to it. Because we actually build our heritage as we think, as we create, as we connect and share, as we travel, every single day, every single moment in our life. We are actually building our own personal and creative heritage that we give to the world. In all the things that we do, the things that we say or decide not to say, the things that we do or decide not to do, the ideas that we decide to capture or just decide to let evaporate, both in our professional and personal life. We leave marks in people that we intersect path with. in the places that we live, contributing to what I like to call positive change. So we, as creative people, has this power to affect change. And positive change is actually constant as well. It starts from, at least based on my personal experience, it starts from truly and authentically understanding people, and it happens through the ability to creatively generate and integrate new ideas and make them happen. So it's not just a question of adding an idea, it's also being able to make that idea happen. So first of all, you need to capture that idea, freeze it somewhere, evolve it by sharing it, just keeping it there to mature over time, and actually make it happen to affect change, to affect the world around us. So you are creative thinkers and have the power, and as I mentioned before, the responsibility also to affect this change, to make this a better world. In all of the things that you do, and again, not only your projects, but in everything that you do in your own life. So I like to think of you, the creative classes, the creative and cultural heritage of tomorrow. So my question and final question to you is, what is the heritage you want to leave?